February 2020 meeting to order. Welcome my fellow city councillors, deputy mayor, and we have our CAO Rob Philpott with us tonight as usual, and our director Greg Goody from the electrical and municipal, and our director of finance Kristen is with us, yes, around the corner, Kristen Dunsford. And we have our good friends from the Journal Pioneer, Colin McLean, welcome. And we have Isabella Navarasi from CBC. How close was I? Correct? Good try, okay. That's what they told me how to pronounce it. Anyway, welcome. It's great to have CBC here. And members of the general public, we have a full house here in the chambers. Not quite. And our viewing audience on YouTube. Welcome all to our monthly meeting. And there's not too much on the agenda tonight, but anyway, we'll start off. Is there approval for the agenda? I got three movers. The first one I saw was Councillor Duran, and seconded by Councillor Bruce McDougall. All in favour? Contrary, nay? Carried. Any conflicts of interest? I do not see any. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the monthly council meeting minutes of January 20, 2020, and the approval of the special council meeting minutes January 21, 2020? Moved by Deputy Mayor McCollman and seconded by I heard a second, Councillor Snow. All in favour? Contrary, nay? Carried. Correspondence. I have a few things here. I'll just try to go through them fairly quickly. Oh, this was the day we spent with the Canada Games delegation in Summerside. It was in Charlottetown in the evening and all day in Summerside on January the 24th. It was a great presentation by the senior management of the Canada Games, and one of our city councillors attended that meeting, and maybe Brian may want to comment on that later, but it was a good day. Also, the Andrews Lodge 20th anniversary the date had to be changed because of the storm, and that was held. And very nice reception and music. And 20 years since that place opened, and it's a beautiful facility and under expansion right now. And, oh, that's just an email from my good friend, the mayor of Pictou, Nova Scotia, Jim Ryan. They had a great conversation. They're having their problems over there with the closure of their mill. And this was an invitation for the Flag Day ceremony on Friday the 14th at Athena School. Very nice ceremony. The school was filled with children and teachers, and Her Honour, the Lieutenant Governor, was in attendance, as well as the councillor representing that area, Councillor Campbell. So that was a very nice ceremony, and it's always an honour to have our Lieutenant Governor, and she's in Summerside quite often, and we thanked her for her visit. And this was another invitation for February the 12th in Charlottetown to the Government House for a special function, and that was on February the 12th. And I attended the announcement for the Seafood Supreme last week, a major expansion for the product and the equipment inside, and it's quite a facility. The modern technology they have, over 60 full-time year-round jobs, and His Honourable Robert Morrissey was in attendance, as well as a number of provincial ministers, Minister Fox, Minister of Fisheries, and a number of most of the MLAs from the area, and other ministers from the province. So that was a great announcement from the federal government, and so we're fortunate to have those 60 jobs right downtown. That's all I have for now. We'll continue on. And at this point, any members got any comments that they want to make about their ward or their friends or relatives? Councillor Campbell, the floor is yours.
Not a comment about the ward, but a comment about our visit to Athena on Friday, and how nice it was to see how excited the kids were because of the flag that we have, and how understanding they were of the importance of it. And our Lieutenant Governor, too, it was easy to tell that she was a retired school teacher. She was just right in her environment, speaking to the children. It was enjoyable.
It was a nice ceremony, yes. Any other councillors got some comments on
E-
this? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I just wanted to acknowledge Mr. Lewis Prott. I believe he's formerly from Councillor McDougall's ward. He now lives in Summerside at Andrews of Park Hill. And I know, Your Worship, you brought him a certificate, and I was up to visit him on Saturday. It was his 98th birthday, and he does not look 98 years old. Handsome. Anyway.
Yeah, and very spry, sharp as can be. So congratulations and happy birthday to Mr. Pratt. Councillor Adams.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Hall family that live in Ward 8. They allow residents in our city and other users to use portions of their property that are around the area of the Rotary Friendship Park. Without their efforts, events like the annual fat bike race that was held on the weekend and different trails in Rotary Park, they wouldn't be there without that. So we want to thank them for that. And also just wanted to thank Department of Transportation, Infrastructure, Energy for adding 2 streetlights to Reed Drive in the area of Colbreeze Farms. This will assist us in making one of the entrances to the city a little more visible, and it falls in line with the lighting that's in place in the rest of the city. So thank you for that.
Thank you, and that's great to have that additional lighting, and maybe some week we'll see a few more out on the highway between the Irving and Solomon Park Road, which is very dark, and we've been working on that for years, but we appreciate them getting started on it. Councillor Drawn.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to mention, and maybe somebody will be doing so later this evening, but the flag raising tomorrow for the, I guess it's the 100th anniversary of Kinsman Kinnets, tomorrow at noon here at City Hall. I can read the whole media release, or I can just kind of mention that's happening tomorrow afternoon at 12 noon.
Whatever you want to. Go ahead, the time's yours.
Well, I won't read it all. It's fairly lengthy, but it's basically just flags going up tomorrow at City Hall to celebrate the 100th anniversary for Kin Canada. And great organization here in Summerside and across the country. Service club, they certainly do lots here in Summerside, especially around Christmas time. And we're going to gather here tomorrow to hoist the flag up for a week.
Thank you, Councillor Drawn. Okay, and I'm just going to mention one other thing there. That now you mentioned the Kinsman. I had a meeting last week with Ray McCourt, a long-time firefighter who just retired as well. He's past president probably a number of times of the Kinsman Club. And he was in, and they've been working, and it was announced here at the swearing-in ceremony that would be the last chain of office, and that chain of office will be used. So they have a new chain of office ordered, and it will be turned over to the city whenever it comes in. Okay. And the one that's there, they want to have it in a case and part of the history book someplace. So we look forward to that. But Kinsmen are heading that up, and I think the first chain of offices over there may have been Mayor. It might have been Mayor Curry. I think was at the time that they ordered it, but at the time it got here, the first mayor to wear it, I think, was Mayor Morrison. Around the corner there. I think so. Back in the 50s or 60s, whatever it is on there. So anyway, that will be sometime, and we're getting ready for the 25th anniversary of our city, which will be April 1st. That's a special day, eh? April Fool's Day. But it is April 1st, will be the 25th anniversary. So there's a possibility the chain of office may be at that time. But through Communications Department, they're working on some promotions for the city. And for that night, on April the 1st, it's always the Mayor's Good Neighbor Award in memory of her honor, the late Frances O'Perry. She's watching over us tonight there, and she was mayor back in the 80s, and council for a number of years before that. So anyway, that'll be a nice little ceremony here on April the 1st at 7 o'clock, and they'll make the presentation, and there'll be a cake, and so there'll be some things that the Communications Department and JP's department and Corey's department, Councillor Snow, will be working on over the year, because it's after April 1st, it's the rest of the year. So it's going to be an exciting year. So that's all I have on Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to pass along thanks to the snow clearing crew that's looking after the boardwalk. I was walking there yesterday and a couple of days ago, and I was talking to a lot of people there, and that place down there is loved, and they thank us for keeping it open. I know it's not the first thing to be opened; it's probably the last one to be opened, but it's really used a lot. So I just want to thank the guys that are doing that. And for the April 1st, that'll be the first one I missed in 25 years. I might have to Skype in for that one.
I hear you may be going up south.
I am. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Councillor Ramsey?
Yes, and I there's been a lot of deaths in our community and surrounding areas this last week or two, and I just want to send out my condolences to all the families who are suffering through that right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Okay, I guess that I do not see any other speaker lights on, and we'll continue on. Deputy Mayor, you have a financial services report.
Yes, I do, Your Worship. Thank you. And I would just
Make sure my phone is off here.
I would just like to say good evening to all of my fellow colleagues and members in the gallery and our senior management team, as well as the residents of the City of Summerside. My report tonight consists of an update on our preliminary financial results as of the end of January 2020. While the city is showing a shortfall in the January operating results, we do not expect to be reporting a deficit at the end of the fiscal year, which will be March 31st. We have a number of options available to offset the additional operating and capital expenditures, such as the street sweeper that I've mentioned a number of reports, which were approved subsequent to the budget being adopted. So those were some unexpected things that every household runs into in every municipality. In addition to these added operating and capital expenditures, we are expecting our wind energy revenue to be lower than budget, and this, as I've explained, is due to a couple of reasons. We have seen much lower levels of wind compared to same time last year. 2 of our wind turbines were damaged by post-tropical storm Dorian, and were not in operation for approximately a 6-week period. We have also incurred significant costs related to the cleanup and the restoration of operations following post-tropical storm Dorian. However, we do expect to recover some or most of these costs over the course of time from insurance claims and through the PEI Disaster Financial Assistance Program. And I do believe that those receipts and invoices are being calculated, and they have to be sent in to the province, and that's either in the works or has already been sent. Capital spending overall is over budget as of the end of January, but it is not necessarily attributable to any one specific project. $7 million has been spent on capital projects as of the end of January against a year-to-date budget of $7.2 million. On a final note, we have been deliberating on the 2021 capital, and I believe that's where a lot of our wind energy was during that week, and operating budgets, and we'll be presenting this budget to residents on Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Council will vote on this budget at the March monthly meeting scheduled for Monday, March 16th, 2020. I'd like to just take this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to present this report, and I'd also like to thank the support of our interim director, Kristen Dunsford, for the preparation and all the work she has done on the reports and the budget deliberations this past week, as well as our CAO, Rob Philpott. Thank you. If there's no questions, or...
Thank you. Any questions for the Chair of Finance? I do not see any speaker lights on. Do you have anything further at this time, Deputy Mayor? Okay, we're moving right along here. Tech Services, Councillor Duran, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and good evening, everyone, and everyone who's here, and everyone who's watching, and everybody who will be reading and watching eventually as well. Report tonight for Technical Services. Preparations for the 2020 construction season are well underway. Staff are continuing in the process of preparing budgets for the 2020 capital projects. Staff have started designs for some of the tenders for next season. This work will continue over the next month or more in order to get the first wave of tenders out for bids. Tenders will start to go out in early March and be ready for May construction if the weather cooperates. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments and building permits to be issued for this year. A number of building permits were issued for the month of January. They mainly had to deal with interior repairs and renovations to various buildings, with the major one being the start of a renovation to one of the city's buildings at 95 Ottawa Street. Developers are stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for 2020. Citizens are also encouraged to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned for 2020 as well. And that concludes the short technical services report, and thanks to Aaron McDonald, the director, for preparing that for tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. Any questions for the chair? I do not see any question lights.
Okay.
Do you have anything further at this time?
I do not. I am finished.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue right on. Councillor Brian McFeely, you got a number of resolutions and
I do, Your
couple
Worship.
of reports.
All
The
to
planning
do-
boards.
All to do with a couple of property zoning amendments, so we'll move right into them. Resolution COS 20-08, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas an application was received from Kuchum Musleo for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 106088 from low density mixed residential R2 zone to medium density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared a first time at the council meeting on January 21st, 2020. And whereas in accordance with section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking, and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements. Impacts from the development on pedestrian and vehicular access and safety, and on public safety generally. Compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources. Impact on city finances and budgets. Other matters as specified in this bylaw. Other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a second time. This bears the recommendation of the planning board meeting held on February 4th. Schedule B is attached to your worship, and I'll read that into the record. Zoning amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under the authority vested in it by Section 18, Section 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap. P-8, hereby enacts as follows. 1. The zoning for PID number 106088, shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated as medium density residential R3 zone, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low density mixed residential R2 zone. And the map is attached to your worship that shows the two, the property, the subject property.
So it was moved by Councillor McFeely, and I didn't get your seconder.
Seconder by Councillor Ramsey.
Councillor Ramsey. You've all heard the resolution. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Moving along, your worship, resolution COS 20-009, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtim Musleo for the zoning amendment for PID number 1060888 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at two separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Ramsay. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Resolution COS 20-010, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtum Musliu for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060870 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read the first time at the council meeting held on January 21st, 2020. And whereas in accordance with section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, roads, storm, water, and electrical services, city parking and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian and vehicular access and safety and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impact on the city finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a second time. And this bears the recommendation of Planning Board meeting on February 4th, 2020, Your Worship. And the Schedule B is included, and I'll read it into the record. Zoning Amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under the authority vested in it by Section 18 and 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988 Cap P-8, hereby enacts as follows. 1. The zoning for PID number 1060870, shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated a medium-density R3 zone, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low-density mixed residential R2. And the subject properties are shown on the attached map, Your Worship.
So moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Two more short resolutions, Your Worship. Resolution COS 20-011, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Adams. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtum Musliu for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060870 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at two separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted.
Moved by Do you have anything to read in there? No, I guess not. Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Carried.
Finally, Your Worship, last one, resolution COS 20-012, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Kerry Adams. Whereas an application was received from Kuchum Museo for discretionary use of PID number 1060888 and PID number 1060870 to allow a 6-unit townhouse on the property, PID number 1060888 and PID number 1060870 combined, 291-295 McEwen Road in the medium density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. Be it resolved that the council approves a discretionary use for a 6-unit townhouse at 291-295 McEwen Road, PID number 1060888 and PID number 1060870 in the medium density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And this bears the recommendation of the Planning Board meeting of February 4th, Your Worship.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. I'm just curious, when you double up 2 or 3 lots like that, we're approving it for 2 separate addresses in the resolution, but at the end of the day, once it's done, it can be 1 address, right?
I'm not sure the answer
Right.
to that.
But obviously,
There's
Yeah.
6 units, so there'd be, will they be like
1 property address.
like 295 A, B, and C type of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there could be 2 different lots.
But, oh, they're gonna be 2 different lots? I thought they
So
were
there could
combined
be,
into 1. Made into 1 lot. Is that it? Doesn't matter, I'm just curious, but I wonder, if we're approving one, will it be the same address at the end of the day when we get it approved?
Yeah,
But anyway, they can sort that out.
I had asked, and they said it was only, it was two lots,
I think it,
when they were building one thing, but there would be 6 individual addresses.
but it could be like 295, what was the numbers? 295
And 1.
A, B, and C, 291 A, B, and C, and 295 A, B, and C.
That's-
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, all in favor say aye. Contrary nay, carried. You will.
Your light's on there, Bruce. and
So, anything further at this time?
I'll have the economic development
Yeah,
report,
okay.
but if you want to go on to
Any
something
questions
else,
for the
back-
chair of, for the planning board? Any questions? Okay, we'll continue on economic development. Councillor McFeely, the floor is yours again.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. And a very short report tonight from Economic Development, and I thank Director Mike Tutuska for the report. The Department of Economic Development has officially launched its second triage business retention and expansion survey. The original survey took place in November 2018. Now, just over 1 year later, the survey will be administered once more to see how things have advanced. In general terms, the point is to better understand the plans and needs of local businesses and how business owners, managers view the community as a place to do business. The information from the survey will be used to plan future activities focused on the top priorities of local businesses. So it really will allow the Economic Development Department to be able to respond to what the needs of the business community is. Like the first survey, the City of Summerside has retained MDB Insight, an economic development consulting firm, to assist with the project. MDB Insight will be working with staff to review the completed surveys for challenges and opportunities that the local business community is facing. Businesses are encouraged to participate in the telephone survey, which will take place from February 18th to March 6th, and should take no longer than 15 minutes to complete. The week of February 10th was basically devoted to getting the word out as well as putting the finishing touches on the questionnaire. The analysis and presentation of responses is expected during the week of March 23rd. It will be fascinating to discover if business priorities have changed over the past 16 months. So that's the Economic Development Report, Your Worship, and maybe I'll just take a second, Your Worship, and you wanted me to talk about Canada Games.
Sure.
I kind of try to keep the my city council responsibilities and the Canada Games thing as two separate entities, as council knows, because I declare a conflict of interest when the games come up.
But we appreciate an update.
But
Anything you can
certainly, we had a tremendous visioning session there a couple of weekends ago, Your Worship, that you attended, and people invited from across the province from different sectors and significant input into what our vision for the games will be. It'll be a Prince Edward Island vision. It's interesting.
Ottawa too?
People from Ottawa were there, Canada Games Council, and as well as representatives from some previous games in Sherbrooke and elsewhere. It's interesting that 32 years ago last night was the opening ceremony of the 91 Canada Games, and 3 years from last night is the opening of the 2023 Canada Games, and that wasn't by design, it just kind of happened. So so things are moving along. We have a great team around it, and we'll continue to plan and get to a place where we can be comfortable with the plan and begin to execute. So that's
a great
where
event for their island whenever it happens in Summerside, all across the island.
Big significant economic impact. So it's a great event. So with that, Your Worship, that would conclude the economic development report.
Thank you. Any questions for the Chair of Economic Development? If not, we'll continue on with the police and fire and emergency planning. Councillor Ramsey, the floor is yours. You have a couple of reports.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, fellow councillors and ladies and gentlemen, both here and on YouTube. I'll begin with our January police report. The training service enhancements. Members were certified in use of force training, certified in firearms training. Members attended human service training at a province, and chief and deputy attended police executive meeting. Community policing activities. Members attended the Boys and Girls Club. They attended the meeting for the PEI Crime Stoppers. Attended general meeting for Aboriginal Justice Committee, meeting for Special Olympics, and Deputy Chief continues to serve with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. The occurrence statistics for the month of January. Calls for service were 487, traffic accidents were 21, reported crimes of assault and threats were 35, theft reports were 29, impaired driving offenses were 8, highway traffic offenses were 50 plus 10 warnings, break and enter reports, business and residential were 9, and drug enforcement charges were 7. I'm going to continue on with the SRO report, the police officer from Three Oaks Senior High School. SRO, who is Constable Montgomery. SRO Montgomery continues to receive complaints from students that are both criminal and non-criminal in nature. The criminal complaints are investigated by Constable Montgomery himself unless specialized support is required. Those are then passed on to the appropriate Summerside Police Services unit for further investigation. In relation to non-criminal complaints, Constable Montgomery continues assisting students with issues in their personal lives ranging from mental health issues, issues at home, addiction-related issues, and etc. Constable Montgomery has been working on various matters with our youth outreach workers and the newly formed student well-being team. Councillor Snow is on that team, and I think he appreciates having you there as much as you appreciate having him there. He also has been involved in investigations and presentations with schools other than Tosh. I know he went to Musquesh. I know he went to Athena. I know he went to SIS. So he's been involved with lots of other schools in the area, which is wonderful. And he's reached out to Kensington, and so he's open to deal with all our provincial schools, not just within Summerside. So we really appreciate the provincial contribution that was made to have this officer in place, and we're hoping the province continues to support us in this placement. As noted in the last report, Corporal Ashley Davis was scheduled to attend TOSH to present on women in law enforcement, and the presentation did take place. Constable Montgomery also assisted PEI Family Violence in presenting to the various classes at TOSH in relation to the Silent Witness program. He also took part in a video that will be shown at the Canadian Student Leadership Conference that TOSH is hosting in 2022. And the basketball club that Constable Montgomery started for the students who did not make or want to play on any other school team continue to be popular. Constable Montgomery will also be working with some students in the Bauer First Shift program for a couple of students who want to learn how to play hockey. So Constable has been doing great work there, and we certainly appreciate him. The City of Summerside certainly appreciates having him there. I met today with Principal Jeff, and he couldn't express his pleasure in having Constable there. So anyway, and went over lots of information with me on what's taking place there. So it's great.
Principal Clow.
Principal Clow, yeah, Jeff Clow, yeah. So anyway, I would also like to announce our second drug awareness forum that will take place at Three Oaks High School on April 15th. We just confirmed that date today, guys, for any of you that I didn't get a chance to talk to, counselors, because you're great supporters and Mayor in all this drug awareness information that we're trying to get out to the people here in Summerside. The forum will be helpful for our community to know what our issues are, what resources we have, and what resources are needed in the Summerside area. So Mayor and Council are looking forward to everyone attending this very important event. I would also like to announce that we are planning a fundraising benefit concert for the Tyne Valley Rink to take place at Credit Union Place. We have some wonderful, talented bands lined up for this event. We are waiting on a confirmed date, but it looks like it will be late spring. City of Summerside is really looking forward to lending a hand to Tyne Valley. So that's my police report and a little bit of information on the benefit concert that's coming up. Are there any questions before I move into Summerside Fire Services? No? Okay. All right. So January Summerside Fire Services report. There were 17 calls for assistance during the month of January, and they are as follows. 4 calls for medical first responder, 6 alarm panel calls, 1 electric fire, 1 motor vehicle fire, 2 miscellaneous calls, and 3 cancel calls. And firefighters trained 20 times during the month of January, totaling 47.5 hours. Out of those 47.5 hours, there were 20 hours towards medical first responders for recertification, 3.5 hours for first aid, 4 hours for ice rescuing training, and 7 hours for fitness training. So those guys are keeping pretty busy over there with their training. I think their new chief is keeping them going. And they just sent a few notes on some of the things that have been taking place over there. And congratulations to Summerside's new deputy fire chiefs, Clay Mose and Kenny Blanchard. On January 7th, Chief Enman gave a presentation to 85 members of Summerside Chair Yoga, which takes place at the Summerside, or the St. Elner's Lions Club. And so any seniors that are interested in going out to do that program, it's wonderful. And they still have some room. They just keep moving the walls back. And they're having lots of fun. So thanks, Chief, for going out to speak with them on some fire concerns. Members attended an open house at the Strength Program at Summerside Young Offenders Facility, and that was a wonderful open house they had. I hope many of you residents got over to see just what Summerside has to offer with the youth addictions. It's a wonderful program. I work there, so I'm pretty proud of the program. But anyway, it was nice to see the fire chief there to greet everybody. On January 11th, our ladder company offered its assistance on getting those perfect pictures that will help Tyne Valley and the Rally for the Valley try to become a Kraft Hockeyville winner. So the ladder truck went up there, and it was quite a sight. And lots of people up in the bucket taking pictures, and they made a fun day of it anyway. So thanks, Chief, for that. And we're fortunate to have a participant from the East Prince Youth Development Center Back to Work program for 2 days at Station 1 during the month. Chief Inman attended a 911 provincial group meeting, and congratulations to Daniel Albert on completing Level 1 firefighter training. A new reliable radio system is in the process of being installed for this department. Now, I got this report a little bit ago. I believe CAO Rob, those radios are installed and good to go. Yeah, okay. Summerside firefighters are beginning their second class for the Bauer First Class program for young hockey players that are new to the game. And lastly, the year-end fire report shows that Summerside fire losses for 2019 are estimated at $1.6 million.
Councillor Ramsey, I noticed that radio system certainly was required because it replaced a system that was there for 41 years. So the technology 41 years ago would be pretty well outdated by now.
A little bit upgraded, eh? Yeah.
So thanks very much for that.
You're welcome.
Imagine the fire department and the fire chief and the members would be pleased with the new modern equipment.
They are. They're very pleased. And it really helps us with our new emergency measures plan, you know. So, and that's the next thing I'm going to get into if there's no questions on the Summerside Fire Department. No? Okay. Bruce is saying, hurry up, Barb, hurry up. I know you are, Bruce. Emergency measures operations January report, and we continue to meet regularly regarding our emergency measures plan. We are now involved with outside groups, and particularly Samaritan's Purse, who are now located in Summerside. They came back here if you remember, they were here during Storm Dorian and did lots of work for our folks in Summerside and surrounding areas. And they approached the city and wondered if they could come back here to do a pilot project on emergency measures. And we welcome them with open arms. They're just coming in to do some work, and it's not costing the city anything, but we'll get plenty of benefits from that program. So we're thrilled as council and mayor and directors to have them on board. We're meeting with them on a regular basis to get a plan in place. We will also be working with the province to tighten up our plan. We've already made a number of changes. For example, the fire services updated their radios, which we just talked about, their communication system. And we are purchasing a new generator for St. Elner's Community Center for a warming center. That's something that we've been working towards, and it looks like that's going to come into place real soon. I think that's, yeah. Yeah, there's a resolution coming tonight, Corey. So anyway, just stay tuned for any updates, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. That concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for the chair of those committees? I do not see any question lights on.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Bart. No, I kind of, it escaped my mind, but just to go back to the fire-related things, I just wanted to thank Corey over at Stretch Fitness.
Yes.
He's opened up his gym for members to go, I think, Wednesday nights. Actually, Daniel and Miles over there have been running a kind of a fitness program just for the firefighters, and they've been doing it upstairs at the hall. But I just wanted to thank Corey over at Stretch. He opened up his gym for that, and so he lets us go over there and do our thing for just an hour on Wednesdays free of charge.
Well, isn't that nice? Thank you to Corey for that, and yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Councillor Durant, for bringing that forward.
Thank you, this Corey. You're thanking this Councillor Corey, or?
Councillor Durant? No, I said thank you to Corey from Stretch Fitness.
Does Councillor Corey look like he runs a fitness program?
Yeah. You got do some Stretch Fitness. Not very nice around here, Corey. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Well, yeah. Speaking of Councillor Snow, Councillor Corey Snow, you have a community services report and a busy month behind you.
Yes,
And
thank
ahead of
you.
you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, behind and ahead. So, I'd like to thank J.P. DeRoger, Director of Community Services. He compiled the report. Active winter was in full spin throughout the month of January as outdoor ice surfaces at Skirman Park and the Oval at Queen Elizabeth Park opened, along with the snow hill behind Credit Union Place. Trails at Rotary Park and Heather Moyes Park drew large crowds as they were groomed almost daily for fat biking, skiing, snowshoeing, and walking. As part of our active winter, the first edition of the Moonlight Snowshoe at Rotary Park attracted over 100 participants. Skating under the stars also took place at the Oval at Queen Elizabeth Park, and it drew over 50 people. More programming kicked off with Life is Good programming and line dancing, which had to be moved to Wilmot Community Center due to the large crowd that it attracted in its first edition. And it continues to draw large crowds. Winter public and private swimming lessons began at the Aquatic Center, both of which are well attended. In fact, private lessons are fully booked until April/May of 2020. Summerside Western Capitals went 4-1 at home and 8-2 for the month, maintaining top spot in the East Link Division and the top 10 ranking in the Canadian Junior Hockey League. As of yesterday, they currently sit number 2 in the country,
Here,
so
here.
that is pretty impressive. Well
Yeah.
over 100 teams in the country, and
131 teams, I
yeah,
think.
so we're sitting number 2. It's quite impressive. The Economic Development Department made a huge solar power announcement in the Veterans Convention Center, revealing a $68 million project with South Korea's Samsung Renewable Energy Division. The Veterans Convention Center was busy during the month of January with 16 bookings, including the annual Robbie Burns Day fundraising event. So that's a booking every second day in the month of January. The large abundance of snow in the month of January certainly kept our Parks and Green Spaces Division busy, from the snow removal and salting to maintaining our outdoor ice surfaces and trails for the active winter. It was a busy month for sure in the Community Services Department. That's my report, Your Worship. Unless there's any questions, I do have a few other just side notes here. But
Any questions for the Chair of Community Services, Councillor Campbell?
Not a question, but a comment when you mentioned about the Rotary Park. The trails up there are just unbelievable. They're gorgeous. Councillor Bruce always bragging up your walk down where you're at. It should come up and they're groomed so nice for walking on.
there we got, and I don't want to say his name wrong, but Flavel. So he puts a lot of time into there, and he works really hard at keeping our trails groomed. And we are very fortunate with the boardwalk and the trails up there. We are really working hard to make this an active community, and we have lots of new ideas coming on down the path too. So it's great to see. Also, Your Worship, if I may, just a couple notes. Recently, I was asked to take part in the SIS Junior Mayor and Council event. It was last week. As you, or most of you know, or I try to brag about it, I'm a former councillor and also get to work former Junior Mayor and Council, and I also work in all the schools here in Summerside. So it was an honor for them to come and ask me if I would take part and speak to the kids on being a councillor and what it takes, what it looks like, and it was a really great day. And if it's any indication, we're in good hands, because there was some really good young people that got up and put their name forward, which is, as we all know, is not easy. A special shout out to my son Braden, who was also elected junior councillor, so that's sort of neat.
History repeating itself.
History repeating itself, so that was neat. Also, Suzanne Bird, as we all know, maybe most of us know her as Suzanne Goody, former Summerside resident, now live in Charlottetown, but we always claim our good Summerside residents for sure. She's currently out at the Scotties and won again this morning against Newfoundland, so she's doing very well. Lost last night in a heartbreaker to Jennifer Jones, but she's doing well. And then lastly, Tyne Valley, Councillor Ramsley mentioned the concert. Just over the last little bit there, we had the Ray Bork Celebrity Game at Credit Union Place, and we also had Sunday night they did a rally for the Valley at the Caps game. Both events were well attended, and like Councillor Ramsey said, it's great to help our neighbours. I think Summerside's a great neighbour, and Tyne Valley has been a great neighbor for many years, so it's glad that we can give back a little bit and help them out, so.
And the Junior Mayor and Council, help me with the date, Mr. CAO. It's going to be, I believe,
I'm thinking March.
they had to change the date
something, yeah.
because of a function at Three Oaks, but I think it's March 10th, and
Yeah.
then they'll spend the whole day going through all departments the next day.
Very next day, yeah. I do have a recommendation and a resolution, Your Worship, as well.
Any questions for the Chair of Community Services before he moves into the resolutions?
At the event last night, the place was lovely.
Oh, yes, yeah, We Will Rock You last night. Facebook was blowing up there today. I heard lots of people saying how well it was, and they go back again and all that stuff. So we there was a post because the hockey game had finished Sunday. Our credit union place staff posted the hockey game finishing, and then right out getting ready for the next event the next night. And I shared a little thing on Facebook, and we are really fortunate to have great staff in the community services department. They work extremely hard and do a bang-up job getting it ready for our
Changed
next
it over quickly.
Change it over quickly, yeah.
Just, if I could, Councillor Snow, all of the staff members in the departments are great, we know that.
Yeah, for sure.
And the directors. I was speaking with the assistant facility supervisor manager, Rob, and anyway, she had been there yesterday since 5 in the morning and was there last evening, so pretty dedicated.
No,
So they did a
work-
great
they
job.
Work around the clock most days.
And more to come.
More to come, yeah. Stay tuned.
Right.
So, yeah, I have a recommendation, then a resolution, Your Worship.
Okay, go ahead with the recommendation.
Community services, the subject is St. Helens Community Center generation system. Here's the supporting explanation. In 2019-2020, the Community Services Department identified the need for a permanent generation system for the St. Helens Community Center. Over the course of a 3-month period, Community Services, in cooperation with the Electrical Services Department, worked to identify the requirements of a self-contained generation system, which is to provide electricity to the facility in an emergency situation. After it was determined a 60 kilowatt permanent generation system was required, a tender was prepared and advertised to supply and install an automatic permanent generation system for the facility. After reviewing the sole proposal submitted by Rick's Electric at a cost of $75,000 plus HST, $86,250 in total, it was found that their proposal met all the criteria. System highlights include a 60 kilowatt capacity, central screen display, level 2 sound enclosure, block heater / charger, manufacturer's warranty, 1,600 liter diesel tank capacity capable of running up to 80 hours. Alternatives. In an alternate electrical power source is not, if an alternate electrical power source is not installed at the St. Helens Community Center, there would be no designated public facility with self-contained electrical supply to accommodate persons who may require evacuation of their residence as a result of long-term power outage.
They presently would just have one in the fire hall, but that's not suitable for long-term.
Correct.
The roof leaking and everything else.
Correct.
Probably.
Advantages. In moving forward with permanent generation system for the St. Helens Community Center, advantages for such a project include to the city, provide a safe location for residents to come in the event of an emergency, provide warmth to citizens experiencing a long-term power outage, and enable for the use of the St. Helens Community Center as a self-contained EMO site. Disadvantages, none. Recommendation. It is recommended that the City of Summerside approve the installment of the diesel-run 60 kilowatt generation system for the St. Helens Community Center by Rick's Electric at a cost of $86,250 HST included, to be used as an alternative electrical power source for the facility in the event of an emergency EMO situation. This system would allow full electrical operation of the facility for our fire hall and community center. Installation would begin in late April due to the eliminating any frost concerns for the concrete pad.
That fire hall is the St. Helens Fire Hall, right?
That is the St. Helens Fire Hall, correct. So with that, I have a resolution.
Floor is yours, go ahead.
Moved by myself, Councillor Corey Snow, and seconded by Councillor Greg Campbell. Whereas a tender was issued for a generation system for the St. Helens Community Centre, be it resolved that the tender be awarded to Ricks Electric at a cost of $86,250, HST included, as it was the only tender received and met all the criteria.
Moved by Councillor Snow and seconded by Councillor Campbell. Just a question, maybe I should know, is that in this year's budget or next year's?
That is in the coming year's budget.
It's
Yep.
going to be in the budget. Thank you. Any questions for the chair? For the resolution?
Just one. I'm very pleased that we're doing this. I think you said it, I'm not sure how it was worded there. It was a tender, it wasn't an RFP, right? It was a tender?
Yeah, tender.
Was it the only tender that we received, or was it the only tender that met all specifications?
It says it's the only tender received, but met
Okay.
all the
Yeah,
requirements.
okay, yeah. That's,
If, unless there's other information,
Yeah.
that's how it reads.
okay, thank you.
Okay, you ready for the vote? Sorry, Councillor Drawn. Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. Just another question, maybe for Director Goody. Is that powering the whole building, or just like the fire hall and the hall? Like, does it go to the basement, and I think like where Island Telecom is, and just the whole building?
Yes, it powers the whole building. The 60 kilowatt generator was picked. The highest demand on the building in the past electric bill was 52 kilowatts. So we took 60 kilowatts to power the full building as in full operation. Fire hall, shuttle services.
Would you come to the mic there, just so we can have that recorded? Sorry, Mr. Goody. I don't think it picked you up back there.
Right.
Maybe the red one over here. Is it on?
Yeah, sure. So it's designed for 60 kilowatts to power the full building. So that's full heat, full services, full kitchen, the whole, no disruption at all to any services in the building from the generator. It was also picked to be 80 hours long for a 72-hour kind of preparation time for refueling, should there be disruptions to fuel. And finally, too, was mentioned, it's the highest level sound enclosure for the generator as well, so it'll dampen the noise in the community when it does run to the best of its ability and technology today.
Thank you. Any other questions on that? Councillor Ramsey.
As the Emergency Measures Operations Chair, I'm very pleased to see this generator going into the St. Elner's Fire Hall. It's important that we have a warm, safe place for our residents, and so I'm pleased about this decision.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that we, during Dorian, we probably realized some maybe deficiencies, and we're moving ahead to address those in a very timely manner. Given Dorian wasn't that long ago, so I too am pleased. On a personal note, and I think I'd be not doing my job if I didn't mention it, I'm glad to see that there is a sound enclosure going around this generator, and hopefully we can find a second one for the residents of Ward 4 in the Isles building. But that would be the only thing I would add to that.
That's the former co-op building.
The former,
Yeah.
yes, the former co-op building.
Okay, we didn't vote on the resolution. Councillor Drawn.
Sorry, I thought of another question. This is moving ahead to be installed in April. So I was just wondering, just for the interest, in the interest of residents, should something occur between now and then in terms of a weather event? I know that the last time it was somewhat confusing. Is there a place currently in use now where the public will be sent?
I'll let Councillor Ramsey.
We do have a generator in the present fire hall.
We do. We do have a generator in the fire hall now, and it certainly is an acceptable place for people to go. For now, long term, it's not going to be. We see the problems that we have in our fire hall, and that's the whole reason we're moving this location to St. Elner's. But is there anything you can add, Rob, our CAO?
No, I don't think there's anything additional to add at this point. I mean, the one thing that, or a couple of things that we've tried to address with the fire hall is that what we noticed during the response to post-tropical storm Dorian was there were some issues around accessibility at the fire hall. So that's why, one reason why the St. Helens Community Center being all on one level seemed like an ideal, or I guess an appropriate spot to be able to have another quote-unquote warming center if the need arose. Yep, that's about it really. And again, now we do have a 3 to 4 week period between tonight and when this generator will officially be implemented and put in place.
Right. Yep. Thank you, Rob.
And with the present fire hall, just to add to Mr. Philpott's comment, 3 flights of stairs with no elevator, and a present fire hall really is not the answer anymore, so.
Councillor.
So we've
And-
got,
And I just wanted to mention too, earlier in the financial report, as I said, we did go through a number of deliberations, and as we're just hearing tonight about the generator and a number of needs that we have for EMO, all of those things do impact on our budget, things that we really need to get as far as priority items. So a lot of the things were spoken of tonight that are very important to this city.
so we have the resolution to vote on yet. You ready for the all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary nay. Carried. Okay, thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Did you have anything further at this time? Or sorry, Councillor Snow.
Nothing further, Your Worship.
Okay. Councillor McDougall, you have a municipal services report.
I do, Your Worship, and it was by Director Greg Goody, Municipal Services. The sewer treatment plant had several maintenance items happen over the past while, failing pumps and controls, and basically general maintenance items have caused more time and effort to correct as the plant ages. That plant is now it's in its 13th year of operation. The biosolids fertilizer was delivered to a farmer for storage over the winter. It opens up the warehouse for fertilizer storage into the spring. Staff has changed the parking signs on Water Street for physically challenged from a 1 hour to 2 hour parking. Staff added temporary crossing signs to South Drive. We're waiting for the crosswalk at Greenfield School parts to arrive for repairs. We asked people to please be careful at that crosswalk. The street sign for Coronation Street was replaced as it was identified as being misspelled. Staff installed new crossing flags at Spring and Water Street intersection to aid pedestrians.
That's Coronation Avenue, by the way.
Perfect.
They had, I guess they made a mistake and put up that Carnation. Anyway.
Hopefully that was what's on it. So,
Yeah,
staff installed new crossing flags at Spring and Water Street. I guess I said that. Staff degreased the lift stations for smoother operation and less clogs, and cleared ditches, catch basins, storm drains several times during rain and thaw events. Staff are due to receive a proposal from a wood grinding company to investigate the remediation of the wood debris from Storm Dorian, and we should have that within the next couple of weeks. And the following snow removal efforts were completed: January to February, 15 road plowing events, 9 sidewalk plowing events, 21 road salting events, 14 sidewalk salting events, 2 downtown clearing events, 1 fire hydrant clearing, and 2 street widening, which is pushback and blower work. Just some stats: 40 water samples were taken with all clear of bacteria. 18 chlorination samples were taken, all clear within parameters. We had a water main break on Glen Drive. Sewer lateral was repaired. A couple of sewer lateral videos, and 20 sewer calls during the month. Sewer affluent to the harbor is all within regulated parameters. And 21,971 gallons of septic received the plant from the outlying areas. The plant out here services the Prince County area. So that's all I have, Your Worship, for a report.
There's only, I noticed, 1 fire hydrant cleaning. Is there only 1 fire hydrant that had to dig out?
No, we've dug them all out at one time. Did them all at once. Any
Just checking to
questions?
see if you're awake.
I'm awake. Any questions?
Any questions for the chair?
I just a couple of things. Worship, February is Heart Month, and everybody's got one. And
Yes.
I've been,
Couple of us
for the
got
last,
prepared.
for the last 5 years, I've been working the Big Hearts Gala Dinner that's here in Summerside. It's on April 25th this year at the Credit Union Place. It's growing and growing each year, and we really appreciate everybody's support in this. So please mark that on your calendar. The other one I wanted to mention is the FPEIM. Our annual meeting will be held on April 27th. So
In
please.
Summerside.
Yes, I believe. Yes, it is in Summerside. April 27th, so please put that in
At
your
the cup,
calendar. Yeah, it's at Credit Union Place.
27th, yes.
Yeah.
That's an all-day
That
meeting.
is still
The annual.
3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have, Your Worship, and thank you very much.
Any questions for the Chair of Municipal Services? If not, we're moving right along.
Oh, I
here.
do have tickets for the St. Helens Lions 300 draw, in case you're interested.
Somebody got me on the list every year. Who was
Yeah, I
it?
know.
Used to be Emmett Kelly for a long time, and then it was Rayner, and now it's Bert Wilcox. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Councillor Campbell, how are things in the electrical department? Busy and
Thank you, Your Worship.
running smoothly?
I wondered about this first one. It says all holiday decorations have removed throughout the city. When I come in this evening, Water Street was all lit up with lights, and it looked really nice. There must be new lighting.
I think they're going to leave some of those lights up for the year round.
Yeah.
I think it looks nice, personally.
And the banner location on Granville Street was repaired. The city now has 2 locations, one in Water and one in Granville. Work has been going along on Route 2 to reinstall electrical wiring that was displaced during the construction on the traffic circle out there. The new electric charging station at Canadian Tire, that's a fast charge, was connected. The lighting system for the outside ice rinks were installed. Lights illuminating the Central Street Water Tower were installed. The electrical service for 32-unit apartment building on Frank Village was connected, so that's large construction. Credit Union Place battery system was repaired due to a faulty communication issue. It was back in service in February. One heat for less appliance had been installed for a total of 422 appliances. A Heat for Less Now program manager presented the Summerside program in Whitehorse, Yukon, as that area is in process of duplicating the program that we have here. The environmental screening report has been awarded to Stan Tech Consulting Inc. for this Sunbank project. This is the first step in getting approvals to construct the project, so that's exciting. 27.2% of our electricity came from wind in January, which is low, but the other day when I went for my walk, it was minus 17 or 18, and I wasn't looking for the wind, to tell you. I thought about our windmills, and then gratefully it wasn't blowing. Generator run hours were 3.4, which they're mostly around 8. We had fuel injector problems in generator number 2. 7 new electric customers energized this month, 2 electric service upgrades. And here's one, 2 customer outage events for the month of January. And I heard tell of one of them. The trailer park of Evan Lee was out for 40 minutes on a Sunday afternoon back on February the 9th, and I think Councilor Duran had some ins and outs too. Said here the circuit that feeds the commercial area had many interruptions of short duration on February 9th, 2020, and the culprit was a poor connection on the electrical feed to the GST center. It has been corrected. It was also the fault of the Evan Lee having a 40-minute outage. And 2 speed warning radar units installed in South Drive and Water Street East. I'm going to look into this a little bit, and we're going to try to get their police department to, we got traffic counters, and it can be, I know when we done the one in my ward on Craig Avenue, it was just the opposite of what we thought the speeding was. So it's nice that we have the ability. I know with the South Drive, it might even be better if it was up a little bit further, because a lot of them go down Pope Road now, right? You have an awful lot more traffic just before you turn out to Pope Road. But it's just a suggestion I'm going to have, is that maybe we can document the traffic, because it certainly does change in different directions. And we certainly learned that last summer when we had the traffic circle being put up out where everybody went to Water Street. But anyway, that is my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Any questions? Councillor Duran.
Just wondering, how long ago did we install the lights that shine up on the water tower? Has that been in place for a while now?
Greg?
It has been?
Goody?
Okay.
Do you have that answer, Mr. Goody?
It's been a while.
You want to come to the microphone there? You want to come to the microphone so we can record it then? Sorry.
Nothing, it's just, I just noticed it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it looks great.
You know what,
And
I just noticed it too.
I never noticed it before, and it's, I don't know if it's because I don't get out enough or
Yeah,
what, but
they
it
were
looks great.
installed, quite a while ago, almost close to a decade ago.
Oh,
or
decade.
more.
Guess I should get out of the house more.
And one issue happened was that over in Storm Dorian, it was noticed they tilted and they weren't aligned properly.
Okay.
And there was also one of the lights that were burnt out. So when we realigned them and reconnected it, really lit
Yeah,
up the
it,
water tower.
just driving down Pope, and it caught me off guard. It looks amazing. It's really cool, yeah.
Last time you're up there was the daytime, that's probably why.
I had to go get my bologna, so.
Okay, we'll continue on. Thank you, Councillor Campbell. I do not see any other question lights. So we'll continue on here. Councillor Adams, you have a number of reports, community and cultural policy review and legal affairs and HR, human resources.
It's longer than, it's not as long as it sounds. Okay, we'll start out with HR and legal affairs. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, as well as department subcommittees, continue to meet on a regular monthly basis. We are pleased to announce Kent Mose, Andrew Peters, and Josh Cameron have been promoted to the rank of captain within our fire service. Competitions are currently underway for the rank of lieutenant. Congratulations, guys. Applications are currently being received for new volunteer firefighters. The competition for the position of recreation coordinator within community services continues. And payroll is in the process of distributing 2019 T4 slips. So that's always a busy time of year down there. Anybody have any questions on that report? If not, I'll go into the next one. This is from Culture Summerside. The following report captures some highlights of Culture Summerside's activity from mid-January to the middle of February time period. The 64th Summerside Lobster Carnival program has been developed. Many sponsorship asks have been made and site plans have begun. This year we are happy to once again partner with the Lobster Fishers of PEI, the Prince County Horsemen's Association, Red Shores of Summerside, the Journal Pioneer, the PEI Exhibitions Association, and PEI Mutual, among others. This year's entertainment is an exciting lineup of island and maritime talent. Returning events to the 2020 Carnival include lobster food demonstrations and taste testing with Chef Robert Pendergast, PEI Youth Talent Search Competition, lobster suppers, lobster trap stacking competition, cardboard boat races, community barbecue, the official opening, and the parade. A press release of all the details and a kickoff event will be scheduled. Carnival dates are July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Details are coming together for the Mayor's Heritage Tea, scheduled this Friday, February 21st at Summerside City Hall. It'll be here in Council Chambers from 1:30 till 3. Included in this event are Summerside Heritage and Culture Awards presented by Mayor Stewart and myself at the tea. Applications have been submitted and others under development for summer student employment programs. And interested citizens made a presentation to Council on the need for a military museum in the city. This is being reviewed by staff, and interested parties will be involved as the topic is researched. questions on that? Remember to mark in the date for the Lobster Carnival.
Just a question on that. I know there's some discussion in the last few days about the possibility of the race night and the Governor's Plate. The Cavendish Beach Festival changed their dates, and now it's
Yes.
competing with the Governor's Plate.
Yeah.
But I guess things sort of got locked in on both sides. It's
Yeah.
maybe difficult to change.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
believe usually Cavendish Beach is the weekend before,
Right.
and it got bumped back a week probably, due to programming and trying to get acts and so on. And so we are having it on the same, it is the same days, but we're hopeful that people will be able to divide their time between the two, and there's lots for everybody, all ages, so
Yeah, I
hopefully
guess there's not much we can do about it
there's
now,
not
but
much
it's
now,
just too
but
bad they
next-
changed it without.
Yeah, much
letting us know.
warning, so next year we'll have to be mindful that we look into that when we're starting.
Well, I think we were this year, only
Yeah.
that changed on the other side. Anyway, it is what it is.
Just a quick question on that. So is Parade Day on the Saturday then? It forever was on Monday, but I think it's now on the Saturday, isn't it?
Saturday.
The 9th, 10th, and 11th, so it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So it is a Saturday. Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no further questions, I'll go right into bylaw policy and review committee, and also on this is some resolutions, and we have some guests here. Ian McCarville and Derek Key are here to help me with this, so welcome, guys. I'll start, and then we'll do the resolutions at the end, if that's all right, Ian?
That's great.
Perfect. In November, Council passed second readings for amendments to several bylaws in order to bring them into compliance with the new Municipal Government Act. The current catalog of bylaws is now up to date in terms of consistency in formatting, references, and numbering for retrieval purposes. This work is primary legislative housekeeping, which means that all bylaws remain subject to council review and revision as the need arises for improving their content, language, and application. New bylaws mandated by the province. This is what we'll speak on in a minute. In past meetings, Council has reviewed 2 proposed bylaws for access to information retention of records. Proposed versions of these bylaws have been specifically drafted for inclusion in the City of Summerside's bylaw catalog. Final reading is scheduled to take place tonight, at which time the bylaws will be formally adopted by Council. Council has, and the next one will just, do you mind if I just keep going, Ian, and then we'll concentrate on that one at the end? Taxi bylaw. Council has directed the Bylaw and Policy Review Committee to review the current taxi bylaw and to bring recommended changes back to Council. This Council direction is a response to hearing a growing number of concerns registered by taxi operators, taxi rides, and the public in general. It has been suggested that the existing taxi bylaw is outdated, irrelevant in some respects, and difficult to enforce. This review process is underway and will include outreach to local stakeholders before the revised bylaw comes back to Council. And some ongoing policy work. Council has further directed BPR to review the city's travel policy, as the current version of this policy has been in place for over 15 years. The purpose of the review will be to determine whether any changes or updates are required. We will keep Council apprised of our progress. Okay, so that's that.
Just in regards to the taxi bylaw, because a number of the drivers and taxi people had asked me when the meeting will be, that they can be present with their questions and suggestions. There's a
Yes, we haven't scheduled anything yet. We were sort of going to get through budget and then go from there. There is research being done on it, and they're comparing some other taxi bylaws from some other cities and some other jurisdictions for comparable size populations. So, and CIO Rob, do you have anything to add to that part?
No, just to follow up on Councillor Adams' point that we haven't had the chance to get our internal group consisting of representatives from council and staff back together to discuss some proposed bylaw or revisions to the bylaw. But there will be, as Councillor Adams has mentioned, there will be an opportunity for representatives from the taxi industry to be able to provide some input on what these revisions could look like.
So just wondering how they're going to be notified, whether, what have we got, 2 or 3 taxi companies in town?
we're gonna reach out to them.
Yeah,
directly.
We'll contact them
Yeah.
rather than having.
And we've had some informal discussions with them already.
Okay, thank you.
Your Worship, the only thing, the other stakeholder, and I mentioned this, I think, at a previous, when we were talking about this, it'd be interesting to have feedback from the general public who use the taxi and their input on the service, I guess, or, you know what I mean?
That meeting would be a public meeting.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so how did you want to go about this, Ian? Did you want me to read the resolution and then you, Rob? Did you want me to read the resolution and then go to Ian, or? Okay, sound good. Okay, resolution COS 20-014, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Duran. Whereas the City of Summerside bylaw CS-30.
Is that 14 or 13? Sorry.
Grab them. There's two.
There is two. Okay, it's in here somewhere.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bylaw was presented at the monthly meeting on January 20th, 2020 for a first reading, and at the February 18, 2020 monthly meeting for a second reading. Be it resolved that the City of Summerside bylaw CS-30, Records Retention Bylaw, be hereby declared read a second time and be formally adopted.
Moved by yourself and seconded by whom?
Councillor Drawn.
Councillor Drawn. You've all heard the resolution. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. I probably have it here, but I.
I'm,
And
Oh, okay.
Ian
I'm-
is,
I might jump in here, Your Worship, just in terms of making sure that we follow the process that's set out in the Municipal Government Act for a valid second reading. So normally, if copies of the bylaw have been made available to the public, and I do have copies here just for the record, then a reading of the bylaw, it says under section 125 of the Act, so a reading may consist of a recitation of the bylaw name and number and a brief description of its effect. So I know we had the name and number out there on the record. I have drafted a short description of the bylaw, which I could read into the record now. And the only other thing, I guess, Your Worship, is that it's my understanding that a very slight amendment has been made to the access to information bylaw. So just before we do the resolution on that, we need to read into the record what that very brief amendment is. So if it's okay with everyone, I could read in the brief description of the records retention
ahead,
bylaw.
yes.
So bylaw CS-30 records retention bylaw, a bylaw to provide for the retention and disposal of records for the City of Summerside.
that's it.
That's it.
Retention and disposal?
Retention and disposal, yeah, yes, Your Worship. So there's a schedule by which records are required to be retained, and then they may be disposed of after a certain number of years.
Does it give the number of years? of time?
There's a schedule at the back of the bylaw where all of that is provided, yes.
It says maybe, not shall, or,
So certain records are required to be maintained on a permanent basis, and then other records may be disposed. You wouldn't have to, but.
okay? Anything further? We read the resolution and ready for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary nay. Carried. Thank you.
And I just have one more resolution, COS 20-013, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Duran. Whereas the City of Summerside bylaw CS-29, access to information and protection of personal information bylaw, was presented at the monthly meeting on January 20th, 2020 for a first reading, and at the February 18th, 2020 monthly meeting for a second reading. Be it resolved that the City of Summerside bylaw CS-29, access to information and protection of personal information bylaw, be hereby declared read a second time and be formally adopted.
Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by whom?
Councillor Drawn.
Drawn. Do you have anything further to add before we vote on it?
Yes, Your Worship. I'll just briefly read into the record that slight amendment that was made between first reading and tonight. So it's on the first page of the bylaw under section 2.1 sub D. It read formally, coordinator means an access to information and protection of privacy coordinator appointed by the council of the city pursuant to this bylaw. We've removed the words council of the city, and now it will read, coordinator means an access to information and protection of privacy coordinator appointed by the chief administrative officer pursuant to this bylaw.
So the first council of the city, was that the legal advisor or the city council?
It was the city council. So in the regulations, it provides that it's council who appoints the coordinator, and in preparing the bylaw, that responsibility was delegated to the CAO through the bylaw.
Congratulations, David. Anything further to add before?
Just that I would read the name, number, and the brief description like we just did. Bylaw number CS-29, title, the Access to Information and Protection of Personal Information Bylaw, and description, a bylaw to provide for public access to information in the custody or control of the City of Summerside and to protect personal information pursuant to sections 145 and 148 of the Municipal Government Act.
Thank you. Councillor McFeely.
Just a couple of questions. I had a call last week from somebody that was very interested in this bylaw. And the question was, when it takes effect, is it retroactive? Can they request information going back years? Can they request emails going back?
So
or is it effective kind of going forward from the date?
It's pretty much effective going forward. It does say that we can't restrict in the regulations, that we can't put in the bylaw to specifically say, but the order of the minister says that we need to have this bylaw in place by the 28th of February 2020. So we're putting it in force now. So it's pretty much a forward.
So it's a forward-looking document as opposed to, so our response back should be anything going forward after February 28th is open to.
That is my understanding.
Okay, yeah, and that's where I was very cautious when I communicated to them, but my interpretation was that it was a going forward document, that they couldn't ask for documents from.
Right, and it's also the reason that this and the records retention and disposal are kind of go hand in hand is that there probably aren't records of some things going back to the 90s, or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like, so yeah, so they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely. Councillor, or Deputy Mayor McCollum, you have a question?
I just want to follow up on what Councillor McFeely has asked and wondered about, because I believe at the Federation of PEI Municipalities with the new Municipal Government Act, a few of those different AGMs that we had in discussions, that question was asked, and I think at that time, basically that's what we were told as new councillor terms coming in, that it would be moving forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, even the requirement for any of this under the Municipal Government Act at the outside came into force on the 23rd of December 2017. So even if there was a question about it, it definitely doesn't go back any farther than that.
Okay, any further questions or comments? If not, we'll have the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Do you have any further, Councillor Adams? Okay, I guess we've gotten pretty well to the end of the agenda. Just one thing I mentioned when the meeting started, we introduced everybody, but I didn't mention our Human Resources Officer, Brian Harlick, is running the controls, and thank you, Brian. Between YouTube and everything else, the buttons you're pushing and pressing over there, thank you for your work. Yes, yes, a lot of work, and we appreciate your efforts. Anything further before we adjourn? I see there's a couple items for the Committee of the Whole. Any final comments before we adjourn? And when we adjourn, let's take a 10-minute stretch. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Brian, or Councillor McFeely, and seconded by Councillor Adams.